Hello everyone, my name is Pris from Pris Peruses and welcome to another video. Today I am gonna be recommending you my favorite witchy books. So these are books that have either witchcraft, witches, some type of clairvoyance in them. I love these books, and with spooky season coming up, I thought this would be a really good video to give to you. And also you can use this video to give you some recommendations for the Wacky Witches Readaton, which is happening in October. I will leave the information linked down below. It is my readathon, and basically it's a witchy shop where you can purchase witchy items by reading books. And you know, if you want to go full out, you can read some witchy books if you like. Without further ado, let's dive on in some witchy read. First up, we have Hex, and oh my gosh, this is perfect for readathon because it's tiny, but this is also sensational, mind-blowing, and I sobbed my eyes out. I think it started at chapter 2 and I didn't stop crying. This is a story about Gaylis Duncan, who is actually a real person. You can look it up, the history. She has been convicted of being a witch at a very young age, and she is sentenced to death and being burned on the pile, as they did that back in the day. This is her story throughout her being caught and being locked up in a cell, and it's honestly just mind-blowing and very, very important. The way they dealt with this back in the day was just absolutely disgraceful. How they were dealing with women back in the day is just absolutely heartbreaking. The audiobook of this was really, really fantastic. It is written almost in a poetic kind of way, which makes the audiobook even more important in my opinion. But yeah, I absolutely loved this. I read this upon recommendation from India, from what India read, and she was absolutely right, because this was sensational and you should definitely read this. Next up, we have A Kingdom of Souls. This is all about witch doctors, and honestly this is very underrated in my opinion. I really liked this. This is about a girl that doesn't have like magic of her own. She's been waiting for years, but it does not come to her, and then she trades years of her life to get magic. Also, her mother is a fucking bitch, so she has to deal with that as well. The dynamic between her and her mother was very interesting in this. This has some twists and turns that I did not necessarily see coming. I need to pick up the sequel. I might do that very soon. Because you know, it's like spooky witchy season very soon. I really like this, and I highly recommend that you pick this up. Next up, we have a middle grade series, which is The Wizard of Wands by Cressida Cowell. Witches are actually a bad thing in here. It's a world when there are warriors versus wizards, but the witches are like the bad thing in this world, so the wizards and warriors may have to come together to defeat the witches. That's what this series is all about. It is just honestly wacky to the bone. It is so much fun. The audiobooks are narrated by David Tennant, and he does a fantastic job. The characters in this are fantastic. It is just so wacky. It has all these wacky illustrations and like some mixed media in there as well. It's just honestly such a good time. It has 4 books in total. You can binge the entire series. And a fun addition to this is that it is narrated by one of the characters in the story, but we don't know which one. And you'll keep guessing until the end who the narrator is, which I think is so hilarious and so fun. I did not see it coming who the narrator was. I was shocked to the bone, but this is just great fun. Then we have another middle grade, which has become my favorite middle grade series of all time, and that is Starfall. This is all about Willow Moss, and she is a witch, but she doesn't have like very flashy power. She can find lost things. This is not very like a good power, so she's often laughed upon in her world. But then last Tuesday goes missing and she needs to go and find it. She gets help from a wacky bunch of friends and her kobold cat called Oswald, which is honestly the best thing in this. I always pitch this as a Wizard of Wands meets Nevermore. It has the magic vibes from Nevermore, but the wackiness from Wizard of Wands is not as wacky and nonsensical as Wizard of Wands. I think it has just the right amount of wackiness. And I just love this series with the whole of my being. It is so good to see Willow come into her own powers throughout the series with the help of her friends. And you should definitely read this. Next up we have The Nature of Witches. This cover is absolutely stunning, and we all know that the naked hardcover is even more beautiful. Will you look at that? That is absolutely stunning. The story itself is also really, really good. It's all about Clara, who is an Everwitch. In this world we have like witches that are tied to a season in the year, but Clara is an Everwitch, so she is not tied to any season. This has a school setting. Clara is quite scared of her powers. So she needs to come in her own, on her own time, within her powers, and trust on her intuition. I absolutely loved this. I think it was absolutely fantastic. It has to do with the weather, with the seasons, and I thought it was such an original take on witchcraft with like nature and stuff. And I really, really liked this. Next up we have The Furies, which was honestly so good, guys. I really, really like this. I read this upon recommendation from Becca and the Books, and I was not disappointed. Also, this has again a school setting, which I absolutely love. This is about a group of friends, and then one of them gets murdered, and it's all very suspicious. What has been going on between these girls? What has happened? They've kept their mouth shut until now. It is a little bit murder mystery-esque. It has to do with witchcraft. It has to do with friendship, with not necessarily good friendship, but toxic in a way. And I just love those kind of books. I love it when you are guessing if the friendship is a good one or maybe a bad one. And I absolutely loved this book. You need to pick it up. Next up I have Serpent and Dove. I am holding Blood and Honey, which is the second book in the series, because I could not find for the life of me my copy of Serpent and Dove. I have not read this one yet. I need to read this, but I think I want to reread Serpent and Dove first. I absolutely loved Serpent and Dove. I thought it was so incredibly funny. It's about a witch and a witch hunter that are forced to marry each other. And I thought it was hilarious. It has so absolutely great banter. I loved the characters. I loved the witchcraft in it. I do thought that the witchcraft wasn't explored that much in the first book. I'm hoping in this one we'll get to see more of it, because I would love to see more of that. But nonetheless, I loved the characters, and it was honestly such a quick and fun read. And yeah, you should definitely pick this up. Next up we have A Lesson in Vengeance by Victoria Lee. I have talked about this book multiple times on this channel. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Again, with a school setting, again with the same as The Furies, a friendship that you keep guessing if it's a good friendship or maybe just not. It has to do with witchcraft. This school has a history of the Dalloway Five, which were 5 girls that got murdered on this school property, and Felicity and her friend Alice are going to find out what happened to them, and they dive themselves into witchcraft, and Felicity gets a little bit lost in her friendship with Alice. How this ended was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I did not see that coming. I was just gobsmacked. I absolutely loved this. This was just so good. and you need to pick it up. Next up, we have probably my favorite witchy book of all time, and that is Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. This is about 3 sisters who are witches, and they want to bring witchcraft back into the world, but they want to use it to make the voices of women heard. This is set during back in the day where women are shunted aside, they do not have voting power, they don't have that much right in the world, and Jupiter and her sisters want to change this. One of the sisters, Juniper, she is honestly the best thing about this book. I love her dearly. She lives rent-free in my head together with Addie LaRue, and she's allowed. I absolutely love this book. I know it's not for everyone because it is quite slow, but I loved it. I think the slowness of the book was necessary for the story to be set, the atmosphere to be set, the world building to be set, and these sisters are everything to me. The witchcraft was so unique. It made me feel so incredibly powerful. It made me feel proud to be a woman. I felt like a motherfucking bitch dragon after reading this. I was like, hell yes, I can conquer the world. And I love it when a book does that to you. So read this. Then the very last book that I want to recommend is Year of the Witching. This was quite gory. This is a fantasy, but it borders on horror for me, but I am a wimp, so what do I know. But I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Very dark. This is all about a witch called Emmanuel. She has a diary of her mother. She finds out a lot of secrets in this diary and gets herself in a whole lot of trouble, in a whole lot of witchiness, darkness. As I said, it borders onto horror for me. It was quite gory, but I absolutely loved it. On the back it says 4 witches, 4 warnings, 4 plagues, and the first had come upon them. And this was just fantastic, guys. You need to pick this up. Perfect for spooky season. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. That was it. Those were the witchy books that I would recommend to you guys. I would love to know, have you read any of these? What were your thoughts on them? Please do let me know down below in the comments. And I would love to know what is your favorite witchy book of all time, because I am always looking for more witchiness in my life. I cannot get enough of it, and I would love to know what your favorite witchy book is. That was it for today, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I am gonna leave you for now, but I will hopefully be back soon with another video. Bye bye.